Hey guys, welcome back to another video where today I'm going to show you how you can build this expandable and selectable mob farm for Minecraft 1.16.2 and above. As you guys might have realized, I've actually made a concept in the last video that I created very recently, but today I've actually made it into a full farm and fixed a lot of the flaws with the previous concept, as well as made it expandable so you can have the 2 part 1 and the 1 part 1. You could also go to 3, 4, 5 and as far as you want it to go. But if you want to skip straight to the tutorial, there will be timestamps in the description below, as well as a world download if you want to go into the same world that I'm in right now and look at the 2-part design and the 1-part design. I've also included the materials for both of them down here. But let's get into the video. The main thing that makes this farm work is this hopper clock right here and this flushing system that we have right here. And basically it's turned on by this lever that starts the whole farm, and this will activate this hopper clock, which every few seconds will activate this dispenser, and then it will take away the water, let the mob spawn, and then put the water down and flush them all the way down here. And then they'll go all the way down here, land on this magma, and die of fall damage most of the time. Sometimes if there is a chicken jockey or something that has feather falling boots, then they can survive this fall, but then they'll just die to the magma anyways. And we also have to have a really big fall right here because sometimes the witches will fall and they have a lot of health, so they'll just land here and they'll die instantly, which is very nice. And then we also have this hopper minecart unloader right here, which we can turn on and off with this lever. And what this will do is it will go throughout this entire thing, and it'll pick up all the items, and we can turn it with on and off with this lever, as you just saw. But basically what this will do when it's on, like this, is if the hopper minecart picks up an item, it will come over here, and it will go past this powered rail right here. And while it's on this powered rail, it will empty items into this hopper. So if it empties an item into the hopper, then this comparator will detect that, which will activate this redstone torch, and then it will make it so that there is no signal on this powered rail, and a powered rail that is off will instantly stop the minecart, and it will do that until it's unloaded all the items and there's no items left in this hopper to go into the chest, and then it will send it off again to go do another trip and pick up more mob drops. And then as you can see, when you turn it off, it just sits right there as it was before. And then if we come up here, we also have a bunch of other stuff around the farm, and you might be wondering what this is. Basically, this is what controls what types of mobs spawn in the farm at one time. So basically, all mobs have different shapes and sizes. So if we have a creeper in here, then maybe it's a little bit shorter than a skeleton, or that's just an example. Obviously, spiders are a lot wider and shorter than most things. So basically, if we have a spider in here, then that would be one of the mobs that could spawn in here. But only the creeper and the spider could spawn in the farm right now, because the trapdoors are here, and skeletons and zombies are actually too tall to fit in this area. Another thing that I want to mention is that we also have this built in a desert, as you can see in the left side of my F3 menu. And the reason we did this is because husks are actually more than 2 blocks tall. So even if we activated this lever over here, which is meant to let the zombies and skeletons spawn as well as the witches and stuff like that, because they can spawn in this little gap in between the trapdoors, the husks actually can't spawn in this little area. And the reason that I wanted this to happen is because I don't really want rotten flesh being sent down to the farm, because most of the time you don't really have a use for rotten flesh, and you'd rather have more other things, and there isn't really any way to sort out the zombies anyways. But basically the husks are too tall to fit in this little area, even with the trapdoors down, so the zombies are the only mobs that drop rotten flesh that can spawn in here, except because it's a desert, you mainly see husks in the desert, which means that there is a lower chance that zombies will spawn in the farm. So basically you'll barely ever see zombies spawning in the farm, which is great because I don't really think anybody likes that rotten flesh. But if you come up here, as you just saw, I toggled this on and off to let the skeletons, zombies, and witches spawn, as well as everything else. So if I had this on, then everything could spawn in the farm, but if I flick this lever again, then only the creepers and spiders could spawn. And then let's say if we wanted to stop the spiders from spawning, we could just come over here and press this button. And what this will do is it will launch all these minecarts up, and as you can see, it puts all of them up, and it also acts like a wave machine, which is pretty cool in my opinion. And basically we have these minecarts right here, and the reason these are furnace minecarts is because the mobs can't get inside of them. If mobs were to get inside the minecarts that we put up here, then it would slow the farm down a lot, because they don't despawn, and also other mobs would run into them while trying to go down this little area. And then in this little area, the reason that the spiders can't spawn is because if we press F3 and B, because they're standing on this this fence gate right here, they're actually raised up by half a block than normal, so they actually have their hitbox go above this block, as you can see, and that means that spiders aren't able to spawn in here, because if they were to spawn on one of these blocks, let's say they tried to spawn here or here, then they would spawn and their hitbox would be too big to spawn in without hitting one of the other minecart's hitboxes, and that stops the spider from being able to spawn. And then if we come down here, we can activate this again, and that will put all the minecarts down. And you also might have noticed this little thing right here, and you might be wondering what this is. This is a 3-tick pulse generator, so it generates a pulse that is equal to 1 1/2 of a redstone tick. And the reason we have to do that is because the 3-tick pulse, the 3-game tick pulse in specific, is the one that allows this minecart to be launched up if there's a rail right here. And another thing that you might be wondering is, why would you have a rail right here if you have to have this really specific pulse? Because that just makes it a lot more annoying to build. But the reason I did this is because when the minecarts are up there, if the rails weren't here, mobs would actually be able to spawn on this slime block, and the only other way that could spawn proof it that I could really think of is by adding something right here that has a light level of 8 or more, so that mobs couldn't spawn in this area. But if you had something there, then the light would creep up here, and even if it did allow mobs to spawn up here still, any light level above 0 slows down the mob spawning up here. So we didn't want to use that, so I put rails right here and used a 3-tick pulse. And then we also have this little area right here, which is a piston feed tape, and this basically, what it will do is, as you can see, it is a little bit laggy because it's a lot of pistons firing, but basically we have this little thing going across. You also might be able to hear a little bit of a note block, which is kind of nice. But basically now only spiders could spawn in this farm because of these slabs up here. And that note block that you heard up here is this note block right here. And I actually gave it an emerald block, so it made a little bit of the bit noise. And I also have this piston so you can toggle it on and off. This is completely optional, but you do need this note block right here, or something that when activated activates the observer, because we have an observer going out of it which activates these top pistons from the redstone, from these bottom pistons and stuff like that. If you didn't want to have this little area in your farm, you'd actually need to swap out this lever for a slab, because if the lever was right here, then that stops the mobs from spawning on this little target block. The only mob that could actually spawn here would be a spider, but if we were to remove this piston and this lever, the spiders would be able to spawn, so we have to put a slab right there, or just a block right there, because that would block it from spawning, since there's just a 1 block gap right there. And then another thing that we can do is we can activate this once again, and it will swap it back to the trapdoors, just like it was before. And now, as you can see, we're back to the trapdoors just like before, and now the creepers and spiders could spawn once again, and those are the only mobs that would be able to spawn in this little area. And another thing that you might have noticed that's different from the farm that I used last time is I moved the trapdoor over to this side because I wanted to have all of the controls on one side, so it will be a little bit easier to use. Obviously, this is still a little bit cluttered, so if you wanted to, you could move the redstone around so you could have one control panel where you can activate all of these things from. But just to make this a little bit more compact, I used this little button right here and all the levers that are like all mixed up in this thing, and obviously that'd be a little bit annoying to use in survival. So you could just, again, make a control panel area to activate all of these things from. And for the materials, this time I'm actually going to do things a little bit more differently than normal, because I've realized that most people probably just pause the video and look at what's in the chest and don't actually just sit there and listen to me say every single item. So this time I was thinking I could just show you the chest for a few seconds so you could pause and look at what's in it, but I also do want to explain some things. So these can be any type of slab, these can be any type of full block, and these have to be a solid block, but they can also be any type of full block, and that's the rest. And then we have this chest as well, and some things I have to explain about this is this dirt can be any type of block that a wither rose can be planted on, like netherrack and stuff like that. And also the dirt and wither roses are also pretty much optional because they don't increase the efficiency of the farm very much. But if you do want to have the most efficient farm possible, then I would recommend using these. And then down here, we have this block of emerald, the piston, and the lever. These are all optional, and they're just part of a thing that makes the piston feed tape make a little noise every single time it cycles a block, and this could be any type of item, any type of block, like a hay bale or whatever, to make the note block make specific noises, and you could tune the note block or whatever you wanted to as well. The note block itself is actually mandatory, but the piston and the lever with this are not. But if you were not to do this, then you would want a slab instead of this lever, and also if you wanted to mute the note block permanently, you'd also need another block to put on top of that. And then we also have this chest over here. This one is just a bunch of minecarts that we have for the farm, and we have a hopper minecart as well. But we also have this shovel. This can be any type of non-stackable item, and these 20 items can be any item that is stackable. And then over here, we have the design, we have the materials for the two-part design, so there's going to be more materials for this, and that's what that looks like over there. This world that I'm in right now can also be downloaded if you want to do that. Then if we come over here, we have this chest. We have these items as well. And we have this, and then again we also have these blocks, which I don't need to explain again, because you already heard me explain that. And then we have these furnace minecarts and all these items as well. And once again, this can be any type of non-stackable item, and these 20 items can be any type of item that can stack. And then after that, that's all the materials. So let me know in the comments below if you actually do like this better. But otherwise, I'll just stick to my normal thing that I normally do, which is just saying every single item when normal, but I thought that might just be a little bit annoying. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you're in a desert biome, so you can do that just by pressing F3 to open the debug menu and looking on the left side where it says biome, and it should say Minecraft:desert. That means that you're in a desert, and the only reason we're making sure that you're in desert is because it makes it so that you'll minimize the spawns of zombies inside of the farm. But if you do want rotten flesh for some reason, then you can build it in a different biome. Then you're going to want to place two chests right here, and a hopper on top with a block behind the hopper, a comparator against that, and then a solid block right there with a redstone torch next to it. And place a solid block on top, a slab on top of that, a repeater right there, and then another solid block right there with another slab on top, and then a lever right here, and you can toggle this on and off, and we'll leave that off for now. Then you're going to want to come to this hopper and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks out from this little hopper right here in the opposite direction of this double chest, and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 blocks from this area, and then you're going to want to fill in this entire area from this corner all the way over to this corner. After that, you're going to want to place in all of your rails. So to do that, you're going to want to come over to this end and place two rails just like that, and then powered rails going until this hopper right here, and then a normal rail right here, and then a powered rail like that facing in this direction. Then you're going to want to bring the powered rails all the way down to the end, and then you're going to want to have these two blocks open and place rails curving around just like that, and then continue this pattern until you reach the end, and it should match up with this rail right here. Once you're done with that, it should look just like this, and then you're going to want to place your magma down. So to do that, you're going to want to come to the second block of these rails and place magma on top of all these blocks going all the way across, and then place it going all the way down this line. And then you should go to the second to last block on this side, and then you're going to want to fill in the magma blocks from this corner all the way to this corner, and then have fences on all of the walls around this entire thing. Once you've done that, you're going to have an area that looks just like this, and then you're going to want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks from the outside of that magma and place a lever right here and power it. You can break all these blocks, and then you should have all of these powered rails being powered, and then you can move across this entire line of magma blocks, powering all of the rails, and then power this one as well. So all of your rails are powered, and then over here, these rails won't be powered, so you're going to need to place a lever, on one of these blocks to power this line of powered rails. Then you're also going to want to place a hopper minecart on this powered rail, and then as you can see, you can turn it on and off whenever you want to. Once you've done that, you're going to want to go from this corner 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks to the side, and then 1, 2 until you reach this middle block, and you can break all the other temporary blocks. And then from this block, you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28 blocks up into the air. And then you can break all of the other temporary blocks except for the one at the top. Just like that, and come back up here. Then you're going to want to place a solid block against that. Then you can break this temporary block, and then you're going to want to go from the solid block 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks out in that direction, And then you're going to want to fill in that entire area with concrete going in this direction: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 blocks, just like that. And as you may notice, I put soul sand every other block on this side. So here you're going to have soul sand every other block, and then you're also going to have a gap behind that, and then a gap behind this block, and a gap behind this block, and then a gap right here. And you're going to do that for every single row. And you're also going to have target blocks going all the way behind this row as well as a dispenser on every single target block, and each dispenser will have a water bucket. After that, you're going to want to place signs on all of the blocks behind all of these gaps on this side. Then you're going to want to go underneath of all these signs, and you're going to want to place fence gates, and make sure that they're in this orientation, because if baby zombies were to go across this, which they spawn very rarely because we're in a desert biome, then they have a very small chance of actually falling through the gap. And if you put it in this position, they have a even lower chance of falling through the gap because they won't be pushed by the water into the gap. They'll have to be pushed by another entity into the gap. So make sure to place them just like that. Then you're going to want to come up here, place a temporary block right here, and then go 2 blocks up, break that temporary block, and then extend this wall all the way to the end of this row, and place slabs on top of all of this. Then you're going to want to do the same thing on the other side, so temporary block right there, 2 blocks up, and then go all the way across, except this time we're not going to put slabs on top. Then you're going to want to come over here again, and you're going to want to fill in this area with concrete all the way until this edge, and then you're also going to want to fill in this area to this area, except you're also going to want to go out 2 more blocks so that you'll have a 2-block overhang with the concrete. Then you're going to want to place a row of top half slabs against this back wall above all of the dispensers, and then you're going to want to come up to these slabs and place a bunch of upside down observers, and then place redstone on top of all of these observers as well. And then come back down here and place a bunch of pistons facing into the farm, just like this, and you're also going to need to place them against these observers. Once you've done that, you're going to want to place a bunch of glass. Then you're going to want to fill in this entire area, plus this little overhang area, with trapdoors, and make sure that they're against this wall, so like this, so that when they open, there's this little gap in the middle, so that all the mobs will have their own little aisle to flow down, and it'll make it a lot easier for the mobs to reach the pit of magma, in turn making the farm a little bit more efficient. After that, place redstone on top of this entire area, including this overhang over here, just like we did with those trapdoors, but instead of placing them underneath these concrete blocks, place them on top. Once you've done that, you're going to want to place a row of full blocks across this row, and then another row of blocks up here. Then place a row of temporary blocks up here, and then place another row of blocks right here. Then you can break all these temporary blocks, and then place another row of blocks up here. Then you're going to want to switch to half slabs and put a bunch of top half slabs until you reach this end point over here. And then when you reach this area, you're going to want to place a temporary block up here with a slab underneath it and go all the way across. And then make sure to fill in this area with the slabs. Once you've done that, you're going to want to place a block that a note block can be used on, and this is completely optional, but you could also place a temporary block here and then place a note block on top of that. Then you're going to want to place a temporary block right here and then a temporary block behind that with another one behind that, and then you can break this block. And if you want to have this emerald block right here and have this note block make noise, then you can have a piston right here, and then you can break this block and have a lever right here and break this block right here, or instead of this piston and lever, you could have a block right here to stop the note block from making sound, which is also optional if you don't want that, and then you'd have to replace this lever with a slab if you didn't want this whole thing here. Then you're going to want to break this block if you're keeping it like this, and then place an observer against that note block with 2 observers facing upwards above that, and another observer against that with a block against it, and slabs on top of all of those. Then you're going to want to place a temporary block right here with another solid block below that, and you can break this block and go all the way down this line of observers that goes down here as well, and then place redstone across all of that. Then you're going to want to place a bunch of observers against this redstone line as well. And then you can come over here and make sure to place a bunch of pistons facing downwards across this whole row. And then if you made the area by breaking out these blocks, you can place all these blocks back at the end. And then once you've done that, you're going to want to place slabs on top of all of these blocks. After that, you're going to want to break this block on this side with the no block and place an observer facing this direction right there, and then come over here and place another observer placing in the same direction as the other one. Then you're going to want to come down here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks outwards, and then break these 4, and then go build a line going all the way down this entire thing until you reach this end block, and put redstone dust on top of all of that. Then you're going to want to place a line of observers against this redstone dust. And then you're going to want to place a row of pistons that are going to be facing upwards. Once you've done that, come over here and place a bunch of slabs on top of these observers. Then place another row of observers on top of this redstone, as well as another line of redstone on top of that, another row of observers, and then a row of solid blocks. These solid blocks should also have slabs on top of them, and a row of pistons that are going to be facing inwards, and slabs on top of those as well. Then place a solid block against that trapdoor with a temporary block right there, and a solid block behind that, and a block underneath that. Break this block and put a piece of redstone dust on top of that block. Then place a trapdoor right there with an observer against that, and then a temporary block right there with a sticky piston against that block. Break this temporary block and put another temporary block right there with a block of redstone on that side, and a sticky piston facing upwards against that side. Then you can break that temporary block, go 2 temporary blocks upwards from the sticky piston, break the bottom one and place an observer on either side of that block, break the block, and then place a solid block on top, and then a block right here with a redstone repeater on top. This one should be on 3 ticks, and place a sticky piston right here with a magma block on top, and then another block right there with a redstone repeater on top of that, and a solid block on the end of that. Once you've done that, place a temporary block right here with a block below it and a target block on this side. Then you can break this block and go 1, 2, 3 blocks from that, and then place redstone dust on top of all of those blocks with a target block on that side, and then a block right there with a redstone repeater on top of that. And now you can see why we needed a slab if you didn't put this lever here, because otherwise this target block would not be spawn proof from things like spiders, because after they're going to have a roof that goes like this across the whole thing. But then you're going to come over here and place a temporary block right here with a block against that, and break that block and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks outwards, and place a redstone repeater right here and a line of redstone dust going all the way to the side. Then place a solid block right here, a solid block right there, a temporary block right there with another solid block against that, and then another temporary block right there with a block against that. Then you can break all those blocks. Then you're going to want to place a block right here with a temporary block on top and a solid block against that. And you can break this block, put a slab on top of this block right there, and then bring this line of redstone dust all the way across here and place a redstone repeater against that block. After that, go over to this glass block and place a solid block against that with a lever on top, and then a redstone torch right there. Flick this lever and then place a temporary block right here with a solid block below that and a target block right there. Break this block and put a piece of redstone dust right there. Then place a redstone torch against this. And you're going to want to place a temporary block right here with a solid block below that. And you can break this block and put a piece of redstone dust on top of that block. Then place another temporary block right there with a block below that. And then you can place a hopper against this, a hopper against that, and then a hopper so that they're facing into each other. And then you can break this temporary block and put a comparator in this one. And then you can place another 2 temporary blocks going across. and then a block right there with a comparator on top, a solid block on top of that, and then a piece of redstone dust on top of that. Then you're going to want to place a block of redstone right there, and then a sticky piston right here, and a sticky piston on the opposite side as well as 20 of any type of non-stackable item, stackable item inside of this hopper on the left. Then you can come over here and place a redstone torch on top of that block. Then place a temporary block right here with a block below that. You can break this block and then put a solid block right there and a block against that. Then place two pieces of redstone dust right there and a redstone repeater at the end with a solid block right here and another temporary block right there and a block below that. Then you can break this block and create this line going all the way down, and then place some redstone dust on top of all of these blocks next to the target blocks. Then once you've done that, you're going to want to place a temporary block right here with a dropper that's going to be facing upwards, and then you can break this block and place another two blocks right there, then place a comparator right there and a comparator right here, and this should have a non-stackable item in here like an iron shovel. Then place a repeater right here, and then it should go through another cycle of this hopper clock and put down this water so that no mobs will spawn inside the farm. Then you're also going to want to spawn proof some parts of the farm. So right here you're going to spawn proof this dropper that we just placed, and over here you're going to need to spawn proof this part right here. Once you've done that, come back up here and place a row of glass blocks on top of this row, and then another row of repeaters on top. Once you've done that, place a row of solid blocks behind this row, and put a row of redstone dust on top of this, and a lever on the last block. And then you're also going to want to fix this redstone mess by putting a bunch of solid blocks on top of this redstone dust. After that, place a button on that block, and then a temporary block with a solid block below that. Then replace this temporary block with a piece of redstone dust, and place a temporary block right here with a block below it. Break this block and go 1, 2, 3 blocks outwards from that. Then you're going to want to place redstone repeaters on all of those blocks, and turn all of the repeaters except this first one onto 4 ticks, just like that. Then place a sticky piston against this redstone repeater with a block of redstone against that, and then place a block right here with a block below that and a block right here. Then you can place another block below that, break this block and put a piece of redstone dust facing into another piston right here. Then you can break this block and put a redstone block on this, and place a block right here, a block underneath that, and a comparator right here on subtract mode, and then a solid block against that. Then you're going to want to place slabs on top of all of these blocks, as well as one in front of them, so that when the redstone block gets pushed forwards, it also spawn proofs that. Then place a temporary block right here with a block underneath that and a target block on this side of it. Then you can break this block, and you're going to want to go 1, 2 blocks out from that with redstone dust on top of all of that, and then place a solid block on this area. Then you're going to want to place a temporary block right here with a block underneath that, break this block and put a redstone repeater right here. Then you're going to want to alternate a pattern of solid blocks and non-solid blocks until you reach this last fence gate over here. So just bring all this down here, and then you should reach this area where it's in line with these fence gates. And then you're going to want to do an alternating pattern of redstone repeaters and redstone dust. And then you're also going to want to do the same thing over here. So let's just do that. And then place the repeaters and the redstone dust. And then you're going to want to place sticky pistons on either side of the solid blocks and slime blocks on top of those. And these should also have rails on top of them facing in that direction with leaves on either side of these rails, and furnace minecarts on these rails. And you're going to want to do that all the way down this entire line, so you have a line of just entirely furnace minecarts and these sticky pistons on top of these redstone dust pieces. Once you've done that, it should look just like this. And then you're going to want to place dirt blocks on top of all of these leaf blocks that are towards the very front of this farm where the water comes down, and then place wither roses on top of all of these dirt blocks as well. Then come back over here and place a piece of redstone dust on top of that block with a block against that, a piece of redstone dust on top of that, and a block against that as well. and then go one block out and a solid block out right there, and then another block out and a solid block out on the same other side, and then put redstone dust on top of all of this. Then you're going to want to place blocks on top of these leaves that are in line with these solid blocks. And you're going to want to do the same on the other side. Once you've done that, you're going to want to place redstone repeaters on all of these blocks. And the same on the other side as well. Then you're going to want to place solid blocks in front of all of these repeaters. And you should also put some redstone dust on top of all of those. And then you're going to want to do the same thing over here. And once you've done that, it should look just like this. After that, you're going to want to come to the top of your farm and come into this piston over here. And then you're going to want to count from it 1, 2, 3, 4, and then break these first 3 blocks. Then you're going to want to count from this edge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. And you can break all these other blocks. And this should be the center point of your farm. So you're going to break this block over here as well. And then from here, you're going to want to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 blocks into the air, and place a button on top with a temporary block right there, a slab on top, and this is just to stop phantoms from spawning when you're inside the farm. Then break this block right here, and this is where you'd be AFKing. Then you're going to want to break all the blocks underneath this top block. Just like that. Then you're going to want to go out from this observer with slabs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 blocks. And then you're going to want to go diagonally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks. And out from this, you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 blocks. Then, in this diagonal direction, you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blocks. From here, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 blocks. And from here, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 blocks. From here, you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blocks. And from here, you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 blocks. And from here, you're going to want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks, and it should match up with your original position. And after that, you're going to want to fill in this entire area when inside of this entire square with slabs so that you have a darker area inside the farm. And you make sure that you use bottom slabs and not top slabs, because this means that mobs cannot spawn on these slabs. And if you were to use top slabs, the mobs could actually spawn on them. And that also includes double slabs, but honestly I'm not really sure how you can make that mistake. Once you've done that, it should look just like this. And what I forgot to mention is that you actually have to leave a hole on top of this magma. You don't have to, because the piston will just push it up, but you'll save a slab if you leave a hole right here. And then if you want to expand this thing out to have more than one area, then you're going to have to reposition this AFK area into the center of both farms. And if you had 2 of them, then you just have it like right in between this little area. And then down here, you can also expand the redstone off of all of these things like the piston feed tape from down here and around here and stuff like that. And same thing with down here. That part's pretty simple because all of these you pretty much just have to hook up a repeater, and you can extend these as far as you want to because these go for 15 each. So if you just have one repeater at the end of it, the max redstone signal strength is 15. So that means that it can reach an entire another layer if you just have another line of redstone dust right here. Once you've done that, the farm is complete. So if you liked that video, then please leave a like. If you really enjoyed it, then please subscribe. But that's it for this video. Goodbye!